Welcome to WRL Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today we have Ogre Barbarian.
Hello.
He's kind of world famous. And then we also have Kage.
What's up?
And we have Renee, former. Are you still moderator, or did you resign as moderator? What's the deal with that, Renee?
I resigned. Too much going on in my life right now.
Yeah. And you didn't like to ban people anyway, so.
Yeah.
And then we also have a very special guest, first time on the podcast because there's no longer corporate suits blocking her, and former employee of Warner Brothers, Miss Stanner.
Hey, how's it going?
Yay!
We love you, Stanner.
Thanks.
That's so excited.
I should have done the, I should have done the Han Solo and said, I know.
And so why don't you tell...
I want to hear the Han Solo.
That was it. He just replies, I know.
Oh, never mind.
It's when Leia tells Han, I love you, and he's like, I know.
No. Leave that part in. Renee asking questions is great. I didn't know you left the mod team.
Yeah. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now. Stressful times. So I just haven't had a lot of time to just go on the community center. So I figured leave it to somebody else who has time and will be more of help.
Yeah, the 3 people that go in the community center will probably only need 1 or 2 moderators.
Yeah.
All you need is Joker. He's fine himself.
Black Kryptonian does all the modding, I think. Joker does the influence farming.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Speaking of which, I'm almost past you now, officially, Stanner.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I think I'm a couple thousand away. I haven't looked in a long time, but I know I wasn't real far. I was like 10, 15,000. It's like, yes, I finally almost passed her.
Nice. You should. I mean, I haven't been posting in there in over a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Hey,
been a long one.
Get it together.
So why don't we ask you the elephant in the room? You decided to leave WB, and why did you decide to go, and where are you going?
Why can't Stanner just tell us about herself first, and then we get to that
Well,
question?
come on, that's the meat. That's the meat and potatoes. We got to hear that part first. Then we'll get into all that other stuff.
You got to start with the entree, or no, appetizer, and then you go to the entree. Come on.
I'm a dessert first kind of guy.
This guy doesn't even know how to run his own
I'm
podcast.
a seafood kind of guy. Tell me all of it. I'll eat all of it. I don't care.
I get too full before I get to dessert, so I never get dessert.
This already went off the rails. I don't know.
We had rails?
We went from a question to talking about food. No, I've been at WB for like 2.5 years almost now, so it was just kind of ready for a change and do something new, start somewhere new, and just opportunity to do like more stuff that is interesting and like fun for me, that I can do more with the community. So, and just in general, like grow my career and kind of like have some more direction and growth in that way.
And I don't think it's any secret to anyone that WB has a bit of a strict corporate communications policy. So do you think your new home will be a little more loose?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more loose. It's like a startup. It's brand new. So it's not going to be, it's completely like loose in terms of like what we can do with the community. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's sports mobile. Yeah.
So are you a sports person?
I used to be really into sports like when I was younger. Like in high school, I was really into football, and I was really into wrestling when I was like middle school, high school. I've always been into baseball and stuff like that. Basketball, like I'm not too big on. I also went to a big college that had like, it was big on sports. So like I got really into like college sports there. So yeah, but I'm not like addicted to it, but it'll be fine. I was addicted to DC, and I did totally fine with you guys, right?
Yeah, we could tell you weren't a huge DC savant, as Joker would like to make fun of you about.
God. Yeah, but Joker's like in a category all by himself on like how much he knows about DC lore and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever
He's
is what I mean.
definitely a nerd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, with DC, like I always like grew up. I grew up because my brothers were big Batman fans, so I grew up with it. And I remember going to go see the Tim Burton movie and being super scared of the Joker because I thought he was so creepy and like not being able to like watch it, like closing my eyes and stuff like that. So like I've always been around it. I just like I don't know. Comic books are hard for me to read. Like I got into The Walking Dead and things like that. It's just that like I think the medium is very like difficult for me to read. Like I'm more of a novel person, and like sometimes I'm like not even looking at the photos at like the pictures and drawings and all that stuff when I read comic books. So it's like really bad. I'm trying to get better about it, but I haven't been successful in that way.
That kind of explains your love affair for Harry Potter, because I find that it's really boring.
Well, that's rude.
Yeah. I mean, can't all be
She's gonna
intellectuals
smite you
talking.
in.
Okay.
Well, they do have some DC novels, actually. Some pretty decent ones have come out over the last several years. Because I'm more of a novel person as well, but...
Yeah, I should check it out.
Now let me ask you another question. I saw there was a title, before we get into trying to drill you on some inside DC questions that you probably won't be allowed to answer. But what's I saw there was a big NFL game title that's upcoming for your new company.
Yeah, that's going to be the first game we get out. It's upcoming. Like, I haven't started, so I have no clue like what upcoming means. But yeah, look
So
out
that
for
was my next question. When you think you anticipated release, is there
As long as it's not like WB's coming soon 3 years later.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be that way.
Do you think it's this year is my question.
I think so.
Okay. It looks cool. I'm a big NFL fan, so I'm excited to.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to kind of see, like, I think we talked about this a bit in the Discord chat, me and you hate about like how big the NFL is in the US. I'm trying to like kind of wrap my head around how big of a brand it is, you know, because like Harry Potter's a big brand, DC's a big brand.
Yeah, but those pale in comparison.
Yeah, and I don't think people quite sometimes. I mean, people that aren't into NFL quite understand just how big and how popular. And it's really cool that the company you have looks like they have rights and all kinds of stuff with them, which there's only one other major NFL mobile title. So I think that the potential for massive growth, if done right, is pretty high. Which I'll
Yeah.
definitely be interested in checking it out, and maybe we could grow the podcast some on that.
Yeah. I'll let you know when it's out. Yeah, it's definitely exciting. We'll see how it goes. It was weird. Like, I was out and about, obviously, before coronavirus happened, and we have dev jackets for the Harry Potter game, and they have the lightning bolt on the sleeve. And like, I was wearing it, and we were like walking by some restaurants, kind of seeing like where we were gonna eat, me and my friends, and this guy was like,
People thought you were Charger fans.
yeah, like people like ogre. Like, do you know how to let a story go? Ruin the damn punchline? God.
It was worth it though, because I just got you to bleep yourself like 6 times.
I knew I was gonna have to heavy edit this one anyway, so I was like, oh, whatever.
Do you guys have curse on
So
there?
worth it.
No, we tried because if we put curse words on it, I'm not allowed to post it on the CC. I figured I don't know. I don't know if I got special rights or something, but I figured out how to post YouTube videos to the CC.
That's so funny. I didn't know that. I didn't know this was a cursory thing. All right, I'll
Well, it doesn't matter. I'll just bleep it. And then YouTube, we
I gotta
have
put
to
the
do
earmuffs on my
explicit.
kids right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do curse a lot. I don't realize it. I don't have kids, so I don't realize it's happening. I just think I sound cool, you know, because cursing's cool.
Do you smoke too?
God, no. It's horrible. It's horrible for you.
I know what that means.
It does look cool, though. But no, don't smoke. Don't smoke. It's really bad. It's really bad for you. Don't do it. I don't do it.
I mean, I've been quit for 6 months now, so I will agree that smoking is not good for you.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It was a joke because, people think smoking's cool. Kids think smoking's cool.
hmm And leather jackets and motorcycles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're part of the uncool crowd, and we're playing with Harry Potter and comic book characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harry Potter's cool. So.
I never got into Harry Potter. I never had a dislike for it. I just never got into it. It's just one of those things.
I like the movies.
Yeah.
I never read the books.
I don't
It's
think
amazing.
I've ever seen the movies either.
Really?
No.
Damn.
Europe, yeah.
I mean, there is like 8 of them.
First movies came out. No, Hate was just too old to get into it.
Yeah, I think I was in my mid-20s when they came out.
Hey, you're about my age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember going on dates and taking my date to go see the first Harry Potter.
How old were your dates?
Yeah,
My age, too. Like,
I didn't know you went
14?
after teenage girls
we were
like
all
Kage.
high school together kind of age, so I don't know. I'm just...
How old are you, Ogre?
You're 7.
Oh, yeah, I'm only 1 year older than you.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, no, maybe I'm 2 years older than you. There's a big difference in those 2 years.
that's fair.
I can't remember.
That's
Yeah, I'm 39.
old.
I'm old as
Stan, how old are you?
Kage, you don't ask women those types of
Kage
questions.
just wants to get
Why
smited
not?
this
I'll
episode.
answer.
Come on.
Renee, how old are you?
32.
See, she answered no problem.
I think Kage's the baby of this podcast.
Oh, he
right?
is. By far.
I'm a day older than Reeves, we found out. But
Oh, wow.
You're a day older?
just a day.
Wow.
She's the baby in the other group.
I like to keep the mystique around how old I am. Usually I don't care. Usually it's just like, yeah, whatever, like, this is my age. But, like, I like to keep people
I think
guessing.
you've told us in
when
the
it comes to
past,
me.
but now I can't remember.
I probably have. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember anymore. I want to
Okay,
say
how
you're
about-
around Mrs.
How about this?
Barbarian
Are you a
age.
millennial or a Gen Xer?
I'm a millennial.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
probably
want
my
to
age
say you're around Mrs. Barbarian age, but
This is a long conversation on my age.
I want to
Yeah,
say
I was
31.
gonna- I was gonna say we're losing listeners. We're losing listeners fast.
so let's have a good game of football.
Though maybe we can go to, if the game's good, we check it out.
Right?
Yeah. It's a fun game. I
And-
played some of
And,
the family stuff.
as the new community manager for this company,
So let's get into some DC Legends dirt since we're almost 13 minutes in, and
I haven't talked about anything
all the
relevant.
DC Legends fans are like, yeah, we don't care about any of this stuff. But
True. True.
Hey, Stanner, so what's the size of the dev team like? Is it like kind of like a small, startup size team where it's like 4 people, just running the show, or, can you describe it? The
I've
office?
answered that before.
Let her answer it, man.
Oh, do you want me to answer? Was that your question? You want me to answer that?
Yes, that's my question, yeah.
Yeah, it's a small team.
Is there a specific number? Like, is it one guy running the show? Like, is it just you and him? Is it 2 animators? Like one animator, like 2 artists? Like, come on, tell us something
To be
specific.
honest, I actually don't know what the size is right now because I haven't worked on it in so long. That,
well, how about when you were there? What was it?
I want to say it was like 20-ish people that were like just DCL when I was there. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Like when I started and stuff. Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, okay. So my impression was like 5 people in the studio.
No.
Like
I thought it was
WB
just one
Cheap
guy
Dog.
in a garage.
I like to
Never
hear
ban
your
the hackers. There's always bugs, right?
Yeah, the hacker thing. So, I can talk about the hacker thing.
Yeah, let's
a
hear
little
about that.
bit,
I
and
would
I
love
think
to.
you guys have probably heard me talk about it before. What happens is that we set up a way to catch them and to find them, and then hackers find a new way. So like if I would like, what was it when we first launched raids I think it was raids or like the weekly or whatever. Like you guys say like, hey, this person's obviously hacking, and we could see he was obviously hacking, but then like in the back end they would try to find how the person was hacking and they couldn't find it. So they had to, figure out like what that person was doing differently that was like new that like our systems weren't catching. And that's why it would take like a long time to find hackers. And it's just like,
Yeah, because you
the
have to
hacker,
prove it, right, to be allowed.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah, you can't just sit there and ban people because they're hacking. You have to find out how so that the system knows to just stop them.
Right. Exactly.
So maybe this Marco da Cruz guy is a freaking genius. So we've been bugging Reeves forever about like, hey, tell the team to like add new backgrounds, like loading backgrounds, like splash art for the game. Like, how many artists are working on the team?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I really don't know how many artists are on that team right now.
There's
I don't
also, you have different kinds of artists, right?
Yeah,
You have
there's
the 3D model artists, you have the 3D background artists, you have the 2D artists, and
there's environment artists. There's there's.
But I want to say that the 2D artists are no longer on DCL. I don't know for sure, but I think that was already a thing when I visited.
I'm not sure. I think different people's times is split up between like different projects. So I don't know like how that kind of works out. But I really have like also the art team kind of runs by themselves and they kind of have like their own thing going. So I really have like not a lot of insight into that stuff. I would only know like who to go to if I needed social assets and stuff like that.
When you were there, did the artists do just DCL or did they split between?
At the time, they were split because we were trying to launch HPWoo. So some people would do DC and HP. And then, so it's kind of like depends like where the studio wants to put a lot of the artists on and kind of where we feel like we need to like resource people towards.
Do you think there's ever a chance of a DC Legends 2?
I don't know. Do you guys think there's ever a chance? I think you do. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe?
they did an Injustice 2, so.
That is true. They did do an Injustice too.
And I'm not saying is there one in development. I'm just saying is there ever a chance you think that they would ever create one?
Yeah, I think there's always a chance for sequels. I don't know how good
But
sequels do on mobile.
was the game considered to be successful?
I don't know. I wasn't there for the launch and kind of like what happened after that. So I don't know how it was like viewed at that point. I think for mobile games, it's a bit different on what is successful. Usually when you launch like a mobile game title, you want those first few days, weeks, like months to be very strong with like DAU and just everyone installing. And then you want to make sure your retention is really high and very strong during those early days too. So I don't know how people thought about that then. I know now DCL in terms of like the SF studio is like, people's kind of like little engine that could, like it always surprises us like how well it does and it continues to do. Like I rolled off it and onto HPWoo, and then I felt like everyone else in the studio who has kind of like been on DCL and moved on to other projects that, like from afar you watch this game that you've loved and worked on and really cared about, and like it continues to like grow and do well and always like surprises us. So I think it kind of depends on like what your definition of success is in that way.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have.
That's really cool.
Hey,
My
go
hands are in so you can't see. I have a question.
ahead. Okay, go ahead.
It's a roundabout way of saying I have a question. What do you think is the probability that they will fix Starfire's butt. Well, now that she's on the line, I figured I'd ask if she, could possibly fix it or not.
I don't think they're gonna take any time to fix anyone's butt in the
Assets.
game.
Start a petition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should start a petition. You should do that. I remember when Starfire launched, like some of the dudes said she was fat. Do you guys remember that? It was horrible.
Yeah, I remember that.
She was fat?
Yeah, people
Yeah,
thought she was too fat.
They're saying that about Cersei right now. I got one for you. So, can you say it from your mouth? Because we've always told the community, like, every time there's posting on Reddit or whatever, they're like, why don't you listen? Why can't Standard just tell us this? Why do we have to go through Ogre or Kage or Hate for some kind of info and blah, blah, blah? So my question is, can you describe to us what it was like working for like this huge corporate bureaucracy of, how much power you actually had to explain or talk to people or interact with the community, and how much of that was like, corporate approved, like, okay, you can say this at this time, otherwise don't say anything.
Yeah, I think it was interesting with DCL because we ended up doing things differently on HP Woo. When, it might be because I was on that game before launch and kind of like in pre-production and production, and kind of had a bit more say on how like we ended up doing things with Reddit and Discord, especially on the WB side. I think if I had been on DCL earlier, it probably would have been different the way we communicated with people. Like, I kind of get why people were upset, and we changed that a bit when I went over to HP Woo. So I think part of it was just the way the team was already set up in terms of how community was being done, right? Like, it probably would have been better for me to be more transparent with the players, and I think that would have been easier to do, again, like if I was on the game from launch. I think the hard part about it was that the product managers and some of the designers are already kind of used to the way we were doing it, so we just kind of kept doing it that way. I think also like the DCL community was pretty rough, like when I first started. Like I do think that like I was able to calm the community down a bit, even though we pissed them off a lot on some things. But I think that was more of the problem, less so being that like as you guys keep saying, like these corporate overlords. I think some of it was that, but most of it was just kind of like us internally just didn't have that in place from the beginning. So it was kind of hard for people to like be okay with us changing how we did things. Does that make sense? Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
So it's kind of like, so it was kind of set up like, hey, so this is how things are normally run here. Don't be, changing the rules on us or we'll get mad at you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it was a bit of that, yeah. Not that they would get mad, but I think that like it just would have taken so much effort to make those changes and to like make people change their mind on those things that it was kind of like, is it worth it at that point? Mostly because for me, like the question was, is it worth it in terms of like how long am I going to be on DCL, because HP was kind of gearing up to go too. So it was always like interesting to kind of figure out like how much time to give to what.
And again, might be one you may not be able to answer. Has there ever been a character scrapped, like last minute kind of thing?
Yeah, like I don't know if they were completely scrapped though. I forgot what character it was now, but I think one time like we didn't have full DC approval on some of the animations we were using for a character, and we had to at least push the character back. But I don't remember anyone being scrapped completely.
I do kind of remember distinctly you guys had to push the Starfire release back to coincide with the movie release. So you guys had to kind of rush out a different character beforehand to make up for that. I don't remember.
Not the movie, but the Titans show, I think.
The Titans show? Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, we might have switched that around.
What's it like working with DC? How much oversight do they have over your game?
I didn't work with them too much. That was more on the design side. Sean worked with them a lot and some of the producers. But they were always really cool from what I heard from them. Just every once in a while, they would catch things like at the last minute and be like, oh, no, like we have to change this. But DC has always been pretty cool with like...
Pretty hands-off.
Yeah, letting us do things. Like they also trust our director of design, Sean. Like they trust him a lot because Sean is like super smart about game design, obviously, but also like DC lore, and he understands it a lot. And he understands those characters a lot, so he's able to talk about things like in a way that like gives them plenty of trust that he's the right person to handle putting the game together and putting all these characters in the game. So they have a lot of trust in him. So it seems like as long as there's like one person that they really kind of like think is doing a good job, they're pretty cool with the way we do things. But just like everything, every once in a while, like they're like, oh no, like this is wrong. It was just mostly for me, like I think what I saw was more like just like an animations, like oh the character wouldn't do it this way, he did it this way, and just kind of making sure that all that stuff was right. But yeah, for the most part, they seem really cool.
So, question, just real quick, are we okay using his name?
I think Sean was in the podcast, so I think it should be fine.
He was.
Yeah.
And it's okay that we indicate his position, right?
Yeah, I think he talked about
his
being...
position in his own podcast.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So he's the lead designer.
He's
So he oversaw all the character designs and the kits and like how they look. He oversaw everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, would you be able to get him on our podcast for us? Just kidding.
I'm very curious to ask him a lot of questions too.
I know at one point he wanted to do an AMA for Reddit. I know that probably didn't get approved, obviously, but I know at one point he wanted to.
Yeah, Sean's great. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
So
for him.
let me ask this one, and then I'll hand it to you, Hate.
Okay.
So next month, Artemis and Cersei are coming to the game, and I remember a year ago I had pushed the community aggressively to push her into the game, but I'm wondering how much of that was how much influence do players have on influencing the designers to input a character into the game, and how much of it is like pre-cooked, like hey, we plan to put this character in, this character in, this character in, and whatever.
Your Reddit posts never work, Kage, just so you know.
No!
But you are
How about-
confirming that the team does read them.
Yeah, no, obviously, like when I first came on, Martian Manhunter was what everyone was asking for. So we knew that people wanted that character in the game, and we had like a running list of characters that people really wanted. It was just like a matter of like when to launch it and how to do it that like backs everything up,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they're never reading my my PvP leaderboard trolling or my Reddit posts. It's even my Nerf Wonder Girl campaign. Like they never read any of that. Huh?
You're just wasting your time. I'm kidding.
No, they do read it. It's just funny to make fun of you. So.
And they on the tier list, we know that they look at that because they always seem to rework our F tier characters.
I don't know. Stanner's saying they don't look at our posts or that our posts don't work. So I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I like how it went from me saying Kage Zone to him just blatantly making a statement about the whole community post and not work. But sure.
Kage, they know you're a troll. That's the problem.
What? They've never met me. I bet you they've never heard my voice.
Before I knew you, I remember you used to do posts to like boycott sales and stuff like that on DCL. And I was like, man, who the hell is this guy? He's just like constantly asking people to boycott things.
I'm an activist, okay?
Oh god.
I guess so.
Are they ever going to do a podcast again is the question.
I don't know.
What happened with that? Because you were still around when they ended it. That was my...
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because they never even released the one that we had recorded the second visit that I did.
Yeah, that was on me. That was so. Let me answer Mel's first question.
Oh.
So the DCL podcast is started by our other community manager, Joel, and Joel he was a community manager, but like it was the way he was situated within WB was a bit different than me. Like I was on the studio side, and he was in mobile publishing, which is like the marketing arm of it. So he wasn't like fully seated with the team, but he like would do some of these like more like I guess marketing related things for them, like social media and things like that. So he started the podcast for DC Legends, and then when I was hired as the studio community manager, I helped him kind of redo it and do it like a slightly different way. You know, we kind of like change things up a bit. I think he was more like, let's just talk about things, and I was more like, let's structure this a bit more so that we know what exactly we're doing and kind of like help, you know, our coworkers be able to talk about things. So Joel isn't at WB anymore. He is actually has a really cool job doing Minecraft Earth with Microsoft, so that's really cool. He's doing that, and then I left to do HP Woo, and then just like it just wasn't picked up after that. That was
And for
essentially
people who don't know, HPU is Harry Potter. We've said that a few times.
yeah, Harry Potter, Wizards Unite. There's a colon in there, but yeah. So we just never picked it up after that. Now the reason why I didn't release that last episode was because I had to edit so much of it out because it ended up being just like Ogre and our designer Josh talking a lot, and like Josh like made something like did this joke about Disney and like just like all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, like you're so off brand on this podcast. Like I couldn't like edit it properly for it to be like a good episode. So I was just like, screw this, I'm just gonna scrap it. And I kept getting like a whole bunch of feedback from people when I would like send it out for like approvals, and I was just like, God damn it, like I'm just gonna scrap it, forget it, like it's not even worth it.
Yeah, we tangented a few times.
Why doesn't that surprise me at all?
I don't know. Why wouldn't it?
Where was the team working on some like cool different mechanics? People have been asking for a while, like do this or that, but was the team trying to do something like game breaking, like getting rid of leaderships or whatever while you were there?
Yeah, they always talked about it and toyed about that idea. Like leaderships is interesting because we talked about it internally, and some people really liked the idea of leaderships and some people didn't. They thought that like it didn't really like work, you know, that it was better to do like another type of feature. So I know we always talked about it and considered it, but nothing like beyond that.
Oh, I do remember you said the team was pretty split on raids. Like how the discussion to implement raids come about, like, and how did we get the final product that we got?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Interesting when you say split. I wouldn't say split. I'd say we all wanted raids and wanted raids to come out. I think we were kind of split on the implementation and kind of the look of it. I think for me, like when I first saw it, it seemed very unlike DCL, you know, but it might have been because like I have been working on the game for a while now. It just seemed like pretty different to me. And then when I showed it to you guys and when you guys were, you know, able to play it, like I think you guys started calling out like really good reasons on why it was like so different from it, from like the original kind of combat system that we had set up. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that was most of what it was. I think also like it having been put in like that legendary events section was something that like, you know, we discussed and weren't sure if that was like the best move or not. But yeah, here's what it is. Do people still like it? Are people still excited about raids?
They like the
I
skins.
think overall they're excited for the rewards.
Yeah.
But nobody likes like, I can't find anyone who actually likes playing the raid.
There's a few crazy people.
Okay, there's always that weird minority that likes weird things, but I can confidently say that the vast majority of players do not enjoy raids.
We enjoy. I would say, I'd soften that a little bit because I think the majority of the community looks forward to them and enjoys them for the first day, maybe two, and then
Even the first two, yeah.
when the grind
It's when
sets
it goes
in,
to 4 days. It's just
yeah,
like, oh my god, kill me.
yeah. Once the grind sets in, people just lose them. But people do look forward to the rewards, and now that they added skins, people really look forward to that.
Yeah, I remember that feedback that you guys felt like they were a little bit too long sometimes. You know, you have to put a lot of time and effort into them.
So much time.
Do people like the combat of it though, Mark? 'Cause I remember that being kind of like a thing too.
It's just
Absolutely
auto.
not.
You don't.
Yeah.
There's no strategy really. Once you come up with a team,
Yeah.
like it takes a little bit of effort to come up with a team, but I mean it's all auto. Like there's no strategy to it really.
Yeah, and I think that was like some of our feedback too internally. It was kind of like I said, like it just didn't feel like it was DCL, you know. But I think it's a good raid system. Like it's good.
But I'm sure in their statistics, when
Raid.
they look at how many people are playing and how much gems they're buying, I'm sure it's really high. So
Yeah,
it's it's not going anywhere.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the hard thing about being a community manager, right? Because like I can read all the feedback online and listen to you guys and like hear you guys out, and then I can have a product manager, a PM come and say like, well, DAU is high, engagement is high, and like revenue is high, so whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, I guess so. Like it's hard.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the problem. The numbers do lie
Well, yeah.
because they don't tell the whole story. But
But the
Yeah.
only thing is, I mean, to play devil's advocate, it's the corporate shill over here. If people are spending and playing, who's going to cancel that? I mean, if I was
I mean, you're not wrong.
if I was overseeing it, I would be like, hey, these people are spending and playing. Something's right.
Yeah, and that keeps
And
the
that's-
game going,
I think
like
that's what. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's like what, success is for some people, just having those numbers be really good. And like, again, like they're not wrong, but also, my community reports aren't wrong either when they say people are frustrated by this. Like, it just kind of like depends what you want to look at, but
I don't think anybody's really frustrated with it anymore. I mean, the bugs are gone for the most part. The last several have been very stable. I think people have we don't want them to mess with it anymore. We're like, just give us chapter 9. And that's my second question that I'm sure can't answer. Is there, do you have to say it's imminent, it's on the horizon, but is there ever going to be a chapter 9? That's what we all want to know. Will
Yeah,
the
I have-
campaign continue? Nobody answers, ever. So.
I have no idea if that's actually going to happen. I will say that like it was funny because we ended up having like a bit of a similar situation on HPWoo where like we have like these assignments and also professions and like you do lessons or whatever, but people are finishing up the professions and like there's no more lessons to do. So and now we have it's like more lessons coming soon, and like with assignments it's like more assignments coming soon. I'm like, I remember telling them like, God damn you guys. Yeah, I'm like, you guys, we've been through this with DCL, like why are we putting this coming soon thing, and it's like, and it's always because design and everyone is like, yeah, they're coming soon, just so know like when that soon is. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet, this is awesome.
Didn't say coming eventually.
Coming one day.
Yeah, coming one day.
Coming before the game closes, maybe.
Well, I'm hopeful though because raids, I'm sure, took a ton of energy to create. So now that they're done and behind us, maybe something else is in the works.
So I think what Hate's saying is that we would like to change raids, but because you guys have like limited amount of time and people are kind of bored, we would rather you put that energy elsewhere. So I guess we're just kind of curious, like, has there ever been in the discussion in the back room where you guys were like, hey, maybe we should work on chapter 9 or something like that?
I love Kage's like internal conspiracy theory that there is a back room where we talk about these things, Yeah, it's like everyone mentions that, like, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. It's just a matter of, like, when we can work on it and actually get it out.
Well, I would say they probably have time now because all the major features that we're aware of are in. So there has
That's
to be
true.
something they're working on.
Yeah, it is amazing though, like how much, like you guys talk about the grind of being a daily player. Like we get in the grind of having to do content each month, and like that ends up like right when we feel like we have a pretty good handle on it, we start working on like another major feature. We realize like, oh my God, like we do way too much new content in terms of like new characters each month and like new events each month and stuff like that. Like again, we have the same issue on Harry Potter, where it was just like, we get into the grind just as much as the players do, like providing the daily events and like the monthly cadence that we have for,
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff every month, which a lot of people have said we'd rather cut back a little bit to have something else, but then depending on what that is, you may not actually want that. So
Yeah. Funny thing again, like that was one of the pieces of information that like a feedback that I got along Harry Potter. They were just like, can you guys just take a month off from events? I was like, this is DC all over again. Can you take a month off from like creating new characters? Like, yeah.
How that works.
I think I was going to ask if any of the developers actually play DCL. If you know, do you know?
Good question. Good question. Yeah, we all played it. Like, obviously, I played it a lot when I was on the game, and then when I was off the game, didn't play as much. Yeah, we all try to play it,
Oh,
but
okay.
we don't play it as much as like highly engaged players do.
now let me
It's
ask
just
you a
like,
question. Do you still play?
what's that?
Do you play at all still?
No, I don't really play anymore. Sorry.
She was never a true DC fan.
So
I
disappointed.
mean, she's been open about that.
More so it just gets like, again, like I'm playing these games like for work, and like it's hard to like turn off on this stuff. Like,
It's hard to be a fan of something that you're working on.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want
It's
to
kind of like
play.
the chef
I
that
want to play a
orders
game
pizza
for
after work, right?
Yeah, the chef doesn't want to go home and make another meal. He wants to order a dang pizza.
I mean, those chefs might cook awesome meals at home. I don't know, but I know for me, like I do want to take a break from my phone every once in a while. It's nice.
Well, we won't keep you too much longer since we're already 46 minutes in. These things have a way of getting long no matter what we do. But,
That's fine.
We're going to end up cutting like 15 of it out, so it's fine.
no, probably like 10 minutes. But,
I thought Kage was going to talk about the postal service, though. Like, are we not going to have that discussion?
Oh yeah.
God.
Into
The what?
politics here, right?
Yeah, kill us. Kill us now.
Oh gosh.
But we should say the postal service. We should totally do that. That thing runs.
We
great.
should totally do that. I agree with you. Yep.
I don't know. I just use email.
I'm so confused.
It's a PSA to save a constitutionally mandated service. That's it.
Kage went on a postal service tirade for a while because his dad.
I mean,
Yay.
COVID is killing us all, one way or another.
I don't want to touch
True.
my mail now. They got diseases on it.
Oh my god. It's anthrax all over again.
Spanner, we do thank you for coming on, though.
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
appreciate it. We've been trying to get you on for like 2 years.
Yeah, of course. No, this is fun. Yeah, I wish I would have been able to do it when I was on the team. I think people were just like really freaked out that like I would say.
What you said?
I didn't say anything bad. I think they were just worried that I would say something
Yeah.
wrong. I think also like there's because we've had a lot of like on the team a lot of veterans from like video games that have worked in like the gaming industry for a long time, and I think like a lot of them are kind of like they kind of think of video game players and like communities that they have a bit like old school, where like I think there's been a change in like how communities interact online with people, and like with like YouTube and Reddit and just like how everyone is kind of online already, that it's like a bit different from how video game communities were like in like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. So like I think there's still some people still probably have like a fear of that, whereas like younger people in the industry are kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's not that big of a deal, to go on Reddit and to talk on there and stuff like that. But we did have some people, yeah, we did have some people that we couldn't release on Reddit because they would have gone crazy. But
So what is
Speaking of, though, so part of that was the fear of exactly what happened with the WROL Mortal announcement. How the fans reacted was just like, wait, what? And I'm assuming that fear is what caused people to not let anybody loose on Reddit and podcasts and everything else. It's just like, we need to have a tight lip on everything because if somebody messes up and the fans go nuts, it's on the whole company at that point, not just them. So I'm assuming that's part of it, is that big fear of, oh God, don't mess this up.
Now let me ask you a question, Stanner. What does the development or whatever team think of the podcast? We gotta hear that. Do they hate it?
no,
they
dude,
like it?
they love the podcast. I do know that, like, because my friend was already at WB working on DCL, and he's the one that got me the job at WB, and we had worked together once before, and we were friends, something like that. And I remember, like, the weekend I was gonna start, he like texted me, and he's like, just so you know, like, the latest episode of this podcast came out and they completely ripped us a new one because, like, I don't know what they had screwed up or whatever. They're like, so just so you know, like, you're coming in, they're pretty angry about, like, this one thing. And I was like, it was weird. Like, I remember they were like afraid of hate mail. And I was like, and once I started talking to him, like, hate mail's fine. Like, he's totally chill. Like, you guys have a right to be upset at us about things. We did some really, like, dumb things sometimes, and, like, like, we deserve people to be pissed off about those things. So yeah, so like people would listen to it, and but a lot of the time they were like, "Oh man, these people really, really don't like what we're doing with the game," which is really funny.
That's good to know, though. We like to know we have a little bit of power in it.
Yeah.
So they're familiar with Hey, but how much do they like, Slow Beast, Doombox, DP, Ogre, me?
Yeah, tell us your real feelings about Doombox first.
Oh, jeez. We're going to be here for another hour, Renee. Go ahead and leave if you need to.
Oh my
my
God.
phone's about to die. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, Doom was really cool. Kidding. No,
Is
Doom
that
is
what they're
great.
calling it now?
Yeah, Doom is great. It's just he's very, like, not I guess verbose is the correct word, but he was
I
like,
use eccentric.
but Doom is like also he's a young guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a young guy. He wants to get into gaming and design and stuff like that. So, like, I understand why he was, like, so energetic sometimes with his feedback. But yeah, Slow Beast doesn't do it anymore, right? Didn't
No,
Slow Beast
he's been gone since he quit before, like
before
during
I
your
quit?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you
No,
even left
I'm
him.
Slow Beast replacement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Kage is our minority replacement. Couldn't have too many old wives.
Minority Report on Fox. That's what I am.
Yeah, we
I
had,
distinctly remember a behind the scenes where Hate Mail was talking to me after the show, and he's like, "Yeah, Kage is like our Trisha Takanawa from." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?"
yeah, Kage's been doing it probably twice as long as Slowbeast has now. Because our podcast is going on 3 years.
3 years?
The game's over. The game is over 3 years, and we started it pretty quick. So
Yeah, we started it about 6. I was looking at the date of our third podcast, and I think we're creeping up on 3 years. I think later this year it might be 3 years.
Well, wasn't
Yeah,
there
no.
two?
the odds spin are way back before that even.
If we
so-
count those.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, when there was two podcasts, the oddsmen.
Before we merged. But we have even on this one, and I don't even number all of them because I have like weird in between episodes. We're on 143 since we've been WROL. and then we had a million of them in between, like A and B and special
Right.
one-offs. So yeah, we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But let Stanner finish because I want to hear what she thinks about Ogre and DP and me.
Look at the DP.
God, okay. And me.
Yeah, Connor's interested about himself.
Yeah, this is a roundabout way of asking, how much does the devs know about me?
And they know about you, Kage. They see your posts. I told you, I just talked about how, like, I hated seeing your boycott posts. Like, what more do you want?
Yeah, it was funny. I didn't really like Kage before. I saw you post. I'm like, oh, this guy's so annoying. And then we were like, oh, let's have him on the podcast because he's kind of controversial. And then we were like, oh, we like this guy. So-
Yeah, it's so funny. You know, the one person I wanted to talk to, I never really talked to, I think I might have messaged him once or twice, but maybe not even that, was Fantastic Jalapeno.
Oh,
Oh,
Fanatic
that guy.
Jalapeno. Yeah.
Yeah. Does he still play, or what's his deal?
No, he's retired.
Mm.
He's
He kind of came back and did an episode once in a blue moon for a little while there, and then he never really did any.
Yeah. And then there was the dad, right? Superman dad, was that his name?
I
Forgot.
think he retired too.
Yeah.
Superhero review.
Yeah.
He was Superman something was his like login ID. Yeah.
Yeah, so after like the Deathstroke nerf, these two players were like, yeah, I don't know what the security of my character investments are, so I'm gonna peace out of DCL.
Well, I think it was
That's kinda-
Yeah, how the first ever nerf got them to be like, yeah, I can't trust them anymore. And it's like, wait, what? Really?
yeah,
The
even though
entire
every other
community
game
is
nerfs.
exploding. Yeah,
I think
the
it's 'cause they
entire
can't beat
community is
hard teams
imploding.
anymore.
Well, that's something else, but
They're not very good at. I've seen their gameplay. They're not very good at what they do.
Great YouTubers. Just not.
Yeah.
Eh.
Interesting.
not everybody can be, WROL.
I tried to invite Emocentric to this podcast, but I couldn't get a hold of him.
Oh my god.
Why would you bring that up?
That was Stanner's boy.
Yeah, just like a week ago or whatever, somebody brought up DC Pamela, and I'm like, oh my god, I will rip you apart. Shut up, curse me.
Emocentric, yeah. You know who I really missed from the mod team was Beowulf. It was really funny.
Yeah, it's a fair amount of people resurfaced in the last year, I would say.
Say, Macho Man showed back up.
Yeah, he came back.
Oh, no way. Nice.
So there's a few that came back, but for whatever reason, those handful, they never made it back. Because there'd be a character that somebody would like, and they'd be like, oh, I'm going to try the game again and get kind of sucked back in. Actually, Slowbeast has been playing for a little while. I've been trying to get him to come on the podcast, but
Oh yeah, he should. That'd be cool.
he's slow and fat, so he doesn't always show up.
Is he actually overweight, or do you just say that because you're his friend?
I just say that he's big. He's a big guy. He's not fat. But he's
No.
big.
Like me.
He's not quite that fat.
All right.
Just being an ass.
Poor guy.
Like, to be fair, none of us are really that short. Out of the three of us, I know that.
Kage is.
Well, no, I mean you, me, and Slow Beast.
Oh.
None of us are considered short by any means.
Renee, by the way, before you were on and I spoke, Kage thought I was you.
Oh.
I just assumed that because there was a woman on the line, it was Renee. Which is very sexist
Well, I
of him.
was I was listening to music. I didn't even look up at the screen. I was just like, just chilling. And I heard a woman's voice. I was like, oh, hey, what's up, Renee?
Ah.
Cool
I mean,
story.
you sound alike?
I guess I kind of forgot what you sounded like.
Oh, jeez.
Renee has a bit of that Midwest
There's a twang.
twang. Yeah.
I see. I don't
Stanley,
even know
just-
what you're talking about, but I don't know.
Stanner, you have this vibe of you're just not amused.
Yeah, I get that a lot, actually. So I guess it's true.
Well, guys, I think we will wrap it up there. Keep this from getting too long, taking up all Stanner's time. And if your new company allows you to come on the podcast and promote it, we will happily do that for you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. What do you guys know?
And then I will post link in the show to where Stanner went. So if you want to check the game out, keep an eye on it when it comes out. If you want to stalk her, send her Reddit messages.
Yeah,
Everything
don't
else.
stalk me.
Well, now that Stanner's no longer playing HP, I'm gonna uninstall it from my devices.
Are you still playing HP? That's the other question.
Am I? Well, I played. So like weird thing, like when I said goodbye to that community, like a whole bunch of people were messaging me, and this one German guy was like, "Hey, like we play on the weekends, or actually they play every day." And they were like, "Do you want to play with us this weekend?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll check it out." So I actually did play with them yesterday. It was pretty fun. But yeah, I'll probably keep playing HP. I mean, like I love Harry Potter, so I know we'll see when they have more Snape stuff in there. I'll probably pop in and play it. I don't know, man. It's hard to play games that you don't work on anymore. Like it's really hard to like, because you see like the bugs and you're like, how did this get through? Or why are they doing this? And it just makes it less fun.
I'm sure it's different when you work in it.
Yeah, but I might play it.
All right, guys. Well, we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much for coming on, and until next time. And Warner Brothers, if you're listening to this, see, it went fine with Stanner. Just let Reeves come on now.
Yeah, I want to meet Reeves now.
I know you don't listen this far into a podcast, but just in case.
Hey everyone, it's Tootitron. Thanks for listening to WROL Broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts. So apparently, DP over here is popping a squat in his parents' basement. Now, DP, I know you just came from some foreign land and everything, but here in North America, living in your parents' basement is unacceptable behavior. That's why I live in my parents' upstairs bedroom. Get on my level, bro.